Welcome to the Happy, Healthy Life Podcast with your hosts, Rob and Randy, who reveal the truth, the lies, and confusion about health so that you are no longer the victim to mainstream medical dogma and you are the hero to your own happy, healthy story.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Happy, Healthy Life Podcast, where today we have a super special episode, and I'm really excited to announce that the person that we have today is a guest, a friend of ours, the lovely and talented actress and communication expert, Renee Marino. Renee, thank you so much for being on the podcast today.
Yay! Oh, so happy to be here. Hi, everybody.
This is gonna be awesome, and we'll be talking about all things holistic health, metabolism related. And today we are going to get into just talking to Renee about what she is an expert in, and she's so great when it comes to communication. And let's just get right into your background. So tell us a little bit about your background. What your history is, and tell us about yourself.
Yes, I am a communication and connection expert, TEDx speaker, and best-selling author of the book, Becoming a Master Communicator. And what my zone of genius is in helping people to create genuine connections in their life through communication, because those genuine connections are what lead to improved relationships, improved health, and overall happiness. And I really do believe that everything in our lives starts with communication. And when we learn to master this skill, we become limitless. But before becoming a communication connection expert, I was a professional actress on Broadway in film and TV for years. I had the honor of playing Frankie Valli's wife in the movie Jersey Boys, directed by Clint Eastwood. And that's a role that I also played on Broadway, amongst several other Broadway shows. Before making it to Broadway, I toured the country and the world on several different national tours. So it has been a very, very exciting journey for sure.
Okay, speaking of that journey, so tell us, how did you make that transition from being an actress in that journey into then becoming a communication expert?
Well, Rob, in 2019, I was doing my most recent Broadway show, which was Pretty Woman, the musical, just like the movie, everybody, with Richard Gere, Julia Roberts. And at that time, I started writing a book like many of you who have those dreams that are on your heart that you feel you're procrastinating on. For me, it was writing a book. I always loved writing. I write personalized children's books for my nieces and nephews. And finally, I got to the point where I was so sick of hearing myself talk about it. We all do this, right? Oh, I'm going to do this thing. I'm going to someday. Someday turns into no day. And I finally got satiated. I said, enough. I'm sitting down and writing the first line. And as I was doing the Broadway show, in between numbers, I'd get off stage with my makeup on, my dance shoes, sweating, and the crew guys would let me use their room, and I would write. And I knew that I wanted this book to be about communication, because growing up as an Italian-American girl, communication was the framework for my family. You could find us sitting around the kitchen table, eating, sometimes arguing, but nonetheless communicating. And I realized all throughout my life how this is something that's a common thread throughout every part of life, our wealth, our health, our relationships. So I started writing the book then. And when the show ended, I felt like I was ready for a new chapter of my life. And I said, I've always loved teaching. I always taught dance and taught workshops. I said, I think I'm going to become a coach. And I took a course to become a coach, and I wanted to get my book published. So those are my two goals. And after I took that course, the world shut down because it was the pandemic. And it just happened to be divine timing. And the first thing I started doing was helping business owners, entrepreneurs to be able to get on camera and be themselves with confidence. So that's one of the courses that I created, Connecting on Camera. And it just took off from there.
So what would you say are probably the most valuable lessons, maybe the most valuable lesson that you learned from acting that translates into being an effective communicator?
Oh, please, everyone, listen and listen in a complete way. It's not about perfection. It's about connection. And I'm going to tell you a quick funny story that's really powerful that I learned while on set with Mr. Clint Eastwood. If any of you have seen the Jersey Boys movie, if not, you'll have to see it now, because one of the big scenes that I do is my breakup with Frankie Valli. And we do the scene once, and Clint Eastwood yells cut, and then he says, all right, now I want you to really give it to him. And I'm like, okay. So I go up the stairs, and my character's really angry and frustrated, and I start the lines, and I'm like, you show up for a couple of days and you think that makes you a father, and ah! And all of a sudden I start screaming because I forget all my lines. Yeah. Picture this. Like major motion picture, Warner Brothers lot, Clint Eastwood's directing me. I forget all my lines. And a few seconds later, I pick it back up, finish the scene. And at the end, when Clint says, all right, that's it, he goes, that was it. And I go, Clint, I forgot all my lines. He goes, I don't care. It was real and it was raw, and that's good. When I was filming with Meryl, and in my head, I'm like, oh my God, he's talking to me about Meryl Streep. He's like, she tried to be perfect and do a million takes of her scenes until I recorded one of her rehearsal takes. And I showed her how real and organic it was. She never tried to be perfect again. And it was like, boom, light bulb went off. We have this false belief about perfectionism, whatever we think that means. Oh, when I get to that perfect weight, when I feel that perfect way in that perfect mood. And what I learned is that imperfection is beautiful. As human beings, we are imperfect. And when it comes to communication, when it comes to improving our health, our wealth, it's not always going to be what we think is perfect, but it's about taking that imperfect action and adding up every small win along the way. Because when we do take that imperfect action and celebrate those wins, all of a sudden these little armors and these little nuggets of self-confidence get developed to turn into this armor of self-belief.
Wow. First off, that was beautiful, by the way. I loved your Clint Eastwood impersonation. Pretty spot on. And maybe you can help me with this, Coach. Why do I have a nightmare in my life? This has gone on for years where I am literally an actor and I don't know my lines, and I'm not an actor. This is a real nightmare for me.
Yes.
So you hit me with that.
This is the quintessential actor's nightmare, but this can be had no matter what business you're in. And it all comes down to that subconscious, deep fear within us, right? That we're not going to be able to show up in the way that we want, whether that's forgetting what we're going to say on camera or forgetting what we're going to say to our group coaching program. And it's just this underlying fear that most of us have. And at night in our dreams, that's what it's revealed. So it's okay. You just have to remind yourself, I'm all good. This is just the subconscious coming to the conscious.
Well, in your experience then with coaching people, and obviously, with what it is that we do in coaching people in metabolic health, coaching people in weight loss, coaching people in being healthier, what are some fundamental techniques that you could recommend for the listeners or the folks watching when it comes to self-communication with themselves? That time when, for example, it's Labor Day, I really don't feel like getting up and exercising, I don't feel like doing this. What are some fundamental techniques that people could start doing today to help them overcome some of that negative self-talk?
I want you all to understand that each and every single one of us has that negative self-talk. That's what our brains were designed to do. They think they're keeping us safe by saying, "Ugh, you're disgusting. You better not eat that donut. Ugh, you're gross," right? It feels really mean. But in actuality, that part of our brain, think of it like a parent. When our parents are like, "Oh, be careful, don't Don't cross the street without looking both ways. Make sure you zipper your coat. You're going to catch cold. No, you can't go to college to major in that. That's too hard of a field. Our parents think they're protecting us, but really what they're doing is sometimes making us feel worse. So start to tune into that voice that feels like it's taking you down. And I encourage you, give it a name. I call mine Jezebel or Judy. And I'm like, okay, Jezebel, I hear you, but I got this. I'm good. And start to thank that voice that sometimes feels like it wants to take you down. And while you do that, you quiet that voice that's just thinking it's saving you from embarrassment, saving you from failure. Let that voice know, I appreciate you, but I got this. And as you do that, you start to make that quiet voice within your instincts, your gut intuition, the quiet voice of your soul. You make that voice louder, and that voice is the real you. That voice is quieter because it's confident and it's always guiding you with the right thing to say, the right thing to do, the right piece of food to pick up that's going to make your body feel better. And the more you tune into that quiet voice, my friends, the more you make those right decisions for your body and for your mind.
Wow, it's
huge.
That's huge. It might be one of the most dynamic and prolific things I've heard here on the show, especially when it comes to quieting that voice down, because like you said, we all have it. It's always there. And I love how you said, rather than avoiding that voice, to lean into it, to give it a name. So now I've got to pick a name to give to that voice,
yes.
which I will do. I'll let you know what it is later. I'll let you know what it is when we see you in Ischia, Italy. Because for the listeners who don't know already, Renee is going to be with us in Italy, and she's going to be giving us tips and tools and strategies for effective communication, not just with other people, but I really think that if you don't have good, effective communication with yourself first, you really can't have great communication with others. So is that something that you're going to be sharing, or what are some of the things that you may be sharing with the folks that are coming to Italy?
Oh, baby dolls. It all starts with the communication you have with yourself. That sets the foundation, the framework, the groundwork for all of your external communication, and not just your external communication, but the success that you have on your journey. I can assure you, as you start to embody your best self, as you start to lose the weight, feel good mentally, spiritually, emotionally, it's all only going to begin if you first have strong communication with yourself. Because how can we ever make a change or a shift if we don't really know what's going on within? If we're not clear on what is the struggle that I constantly face, what is that block, that roadblock that's always in my way? If you're not clear about that, how could you ever get through it? And I want to say something else in regards to what we talked about before, that loud voice that feels like it's always trying to tear you down. Oh, Judy, you can't do it. Donna, you can't do it. You're not good enough. I want you to understand this and carry these words with you. You are not alone. Every single one of us, I don't care who you watch on social media that you think has the life that you want, they struggle in their own way too. They have that loud voice. So by understanding you're not alone, it makes your journey easier and it lessens the struggle that you go through.
You know, thank you for saying that, because I think there's this thing that I know for myself when I'm watching, you know, if I'm watching TV or I'm watching a movie, there's that illusion that the characters that you're seeing, everything is so perfect, and that's the life that you want, right? So as an actress, how is it that you can be able to be an authentic character on screen, right? But then also translate that authenticity on screen into real life?
Oh, my friends who are with me in Ischia, we're going to talk all about that, baby. That's step 2 of my connect method, which is all about owning who you are. Owning who you are and understanding that nothing is going to move you further along your journey. Nothing is going to allow you to create the genuine connections with the people in your life that are going to help you on your health and wellness journey, i.e. your beautiful, incredible coaches like Rob and Randy, your support system of family. You can never create those genuine connections unless you first own who you are. And that's being the you who shows up on this call with us, the same you who shows up face to face, the same you who shows up on emails and text messages. And the way that you're able to do that is going back to step 1, first understanding who you are through communication with yourself, waking up every day, and instead of rolling over and grabbing your phone on the nightstand to hop on social media for what I call the good old S&C, scroll and compare, where you hop into the lives of others and completely disregard yourself, your inner self. Instead of doing that, leave those digital devices aside and instead ask yourself this one question: how am I feeling? And allow yourself to put pen to paper, not typing it on the notes app of your phone, in invoking that old school simplicity way of communicating through pen and paper, and allow yourself to connect with yourself. And by doing that each and every day, you start to create this beautiful relationship with yourself. So then you can get to step 2, to own who you are and be your authentic self everywhere you go and in everything you do.
I love that. And then as you say that, I'm thinking, as I know we have a lot of verbal communication that we're constantly saying to ourselves, right? Are there some non-verbal communication skills that we can be able to have that can be able to get us into that state of authenticity, or nonverbal, things that we can be able to even project outwards of the person that we are inside? What are some of those types of things, or are there any? Do you use any? And I'm just curious.
Yes. Well, one of the reason I wrote my book, the subtitle of my book is Balancing New School Technology, right? All of our apps, the internet, all of these beautiful resources with that old school simplicity, the old school way of communicating, face to face, picking up the phone to your ear, or writing an actual handwritten letter. Understanding the right time and place to utilize the phone to communicate, or putting the phone aside and saying, no, I have to have a face-to-face conversation. And to answer your question, it's about putting those devices aside when we are out and about in the world. So often, what are we doing? We're walking with our heads down and we're typing, and we have to get to that email. We have to answer that person. And what that's doing is giving off the energy to other people that we're in a rush. We don't have time for you. We aren't there to connect. But instead, if we put those devices in our pockets, out of sight, when we're entering or exiting something like a coffee shop, and we utilize something as simple as a smile, and we smile at the people around us, what a gift. Because not only is it potentially bringing them out of a hard moment, but it's allowing us to shine our light from within. And instead of standing there with our heads down or our arms folded, take notice of the people around you. If someone has beautiful eyes, tell them, because what a beautiful way to connect, and connect in a way that's nonverbal, just through a smile.
That seems like a lost art. And correct me if I'm wrong, Renee. I feel like ever since the lockdowns happened, people just don't look up and even make eye contact anymore. I literally had somebody run right into me with their head down on their phone walking, and literally, as if I wasn't even on the sidewalk, run right into me. I'm thinking, is this person going to move? They were so inundated in being on their phone and being disconnected from the world. So definitely, I know for me, one of the things I have to fight myself doing is I wake up and you'll have a tendency to want to grab your phone and start immediately looking potentially at social media, maybe emails, which obviously I think you would agree probably isn't the best way to start your day. Already comparing yourself and feeling inadequate, so can't be the best way to start the day, right? But I'll ask you this, because I know you taught me something very powerful, and maybe you can help our listeners maybe take something that can control our lives and ruin our day. How can we use this in a positive way? Because I know for me, one of the things you taught me to do is, get on your phone, record a video, because when someone sends you a text, you send them a video message back to let them know how important they are to you. And that texting is great, voice memos are fine, but creating a video, I've been using that strategy that you taught us months ago. And I got to tell you, Renee, it is the old school way of doing it, because you're actually communicating on some level by saying, you know what, you're worth taking a 30-second to 1-minute video. What are your thoughts on that? I'm assuming you're still encouraging people to do that, because I'm still doing it.
Yes, it is one of the greatest tools that I share, where people come back to me and they're like, oh my goodness, Renee, I've been doing this and it is so effective. So what Randy is talking about is when someone sends you a text message, instead of going right back to type them with another text message, how about giving them the gift of a video message, a short message that you talk to them instead of sending them back written words, and you just say, hey, Cynthia, Renee here. I just got your text. I just wanted you to know that I'm so excited to see you next week. And I wanted you to see my smile and feel my energy instead of just writing it. Can't wait to see you next week. Boom. Send that text message back. Number one, it's a much stronger, more powerful way to communicate, because they see your facial expressions, they feel your energy, see your body language. And number two, what a nice surprise for them to be like, oh my gosh, Renee just sent me a message. I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah.
And it's such a positive way to balance those worlds of new school technology with old school simplicity. And I'm going to give you one more really great practice for yourself to get into that self-communication. This is in the book, one of the greatest tools, video journaling. Taking out your camera, go into a room by yourself, press record so the camera is shining on you and you're talking to the camera as if it's a person, your best friend, your therapist, and just talk. I'm so frustrated today. My husband's driving me crazy. He doesn't listen to me. What am I going to do? Something magical happens when we verbalize what is going on within. And by doing that, not only are we getting comfortable with being behind a camera, but we are expressing ourselves and getting into honest communication with ourselves, and talk about creating a powerful relationship with yourself. It's incredible.
Wow.
Great advice.
I know for myself, that can be a scary thought, to get honest, authentic, and down and dirty, literally with yourself like that. I think that's huge. And I ditto what Randy said, even when we were in Italy, that we knew that there were some important contacts that we needed to have, not only be connected with, but also communicate back to us some important things. And that's what we did, is we just literally sat there and started sending video messages to all of these people. And because of those video messages, where they weren't replying back to text message, they all started responding back saying that they absolutely loved the videos. And it was, and they were so excited about it as well, which was, I like, it's such a simple thing. So yeah, thank you for that. Now I'm curious, and I think probably a lot of the listeners are curious about this as well. And I think more than anything, it's just something that we need to hear. And because of your background being in the acting world, are people who we see on screen or on stage, how do they feel about the way they look? Are they comparing themselves to other people?
You guys, I'm so glad you asked this. So for everyone listening, you're going to love this. And this is coming from the horse's mouth, as they say. Is that the saying? I don't know. I have had the honor of working with some of the greatest actors in history, people who make millions of dollars to be on screen and be beautiful and act. And you want to know a secret? They are nervous. They doubt themselves. They hate the way they look on screen. Many of them are introverts. But guess what? As I just want to remind you of this, what I talked about a few minutes ago, you are not alone. I don't care who the person is, how much money they're making, what celebrity status they have. They are human beings. And all of us have that commonality of a brain that was designed to make us feel afraid, was designed to keep us safe and protected by being on high alert, by going into that sympathetic nervous system where it's like, oh my gosh, I don't look good. Why does my face look like that? Oh, I hate the way my voice sounds like that on camera. Do you know how long it took me to start watching myself on video? I'll tell you. I have been dancing since I was 3 years old, dance recitals, dance competitions. When my mother used to show my videos, when my family came over, I would leave the room. I'd be like, bye, I'll see you guys later. Then I became a performer, started singing, right? I had to be on video. It took me so long to start getting comfortable with seeing myself on camera. But now it's second nature. So you're not alone in this. And it's a practice. It is a practice. And this is why you being here, you having these amazing coaches like Rob and Randy and tuning in to a community like this is so powerful and important, because we can only see as far as ourselves. This is why coaches have coaches and those coaches have coaches, because we all need one another to stay accountable and understand and realize, oh, wait, it's not just me. I'm not the only one doubting myself. And I'm telling you this from being on film sets with people who you love and admire that make millions of dollars being on camera and having to act like everything's just peachy.
Well, it's good to know that we are not alone. So we're coming to the end of the podcast here. And so, but before we end, we want to make sure that our listeners and our viewers can know how to get a hold of you, how to contact you, how to see what you're up to with your coaching, your communication. So how do they find you?
Yes. Come say hello to me. My website, reneemarino.com. That's ReneeMarino.com. Shoot me an email. I'd love to connect with you. And you can find a load of resources. There's some free downloadable things on the website for you. And yes, I'd love to say hello.
Awesome. And I'll put it in the show notes as well. That way everybody can be able to have all your links, all your social media handles. And I love following you also on social media. You always have great stuff that you post on there. Super informative. And with that being said, the last question that we always ask our guests, and we're going to ask you this question, you have no idea what it is. So here goes. So tell our guests what your definition of living and being happy, healthy is.
Leaning into what lights me up, leaning into what makes me feel lit up from the inside out. In this digital landscape we live in, it's so easy to believe that, oh, that next best thing that I see on social media is going to make me happy. I should do things like this. I should do things like that. We should all over ourselves. But instead, when we lean into those things that light us up from the inside out, that is a sign of our gut instinct, our innermost self telling us this is what's right for us. So trust that and lean into it. And that is when I am my happiest and my healthiest.
Love it.
Beautiful.
So Thank you so much for being on with us, Renee. Can't wait to hang out with you in Italy. It's going to be amazing. Yes. I'm going to put also in the show notes how to be able to get to Italy. I think we have a couple of rooms still open, so I'll put that in there as well. And as always, if you have questions, feel free to ask us at the H2 Life on Instagram, our podcast, all the things. Like it, share it, review it. We appreciate you. We love you. So thank you so much for listening.
Thanks for listening to the Happy, Healthy Life podcast. If you enjoy the show, make sure to follow them on Instagram at the H2 Life or on YouTube and Facebook at the Happy Healthy Guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, and review the show wherever you listen to podcasts.